What's up, everybody? As I told you in one of my previous videos, I'm visiting Indianapolis, Indiana on a work trip, and I was definitely determined to find some good ramen noodles along the way, which I'd like to report I definitely found. I was really shocked. Last week I found a place called Kizuki Ramen and Izakaya, and definitely some of the best ramen noodles that I've had anywhere, to be honest. It was amazing. I'll put up the Google Maps. I'm not sure off the top of my head if it's in Indianapolis or Carmel. I've been kind of jumping back and forth between the two cities, but either way, I'm gonna go find the Google Maps location for Kizuki, and I'll put it up here so you can see it. If you're ever in the area, if you're in Indianapolis, if you're within a half hour to an hour drive even, I would highly recommend visiting Kizuki. It's super awesome.
Send me to my grave.
Let me tell you about this little lady in my life.
Send me to my grave.
Relationship. Since neither of us ever really agreed on
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
But I love her though. And I think she
I
loves
gotta
me.
speak me.
But you know how relationships go. Now check it out.
Man, I like these. This place actually seems cool. I like this.
I ordered the spicy ramen, gymkhana style. It was the base of the regular spicy ramen, except they added a habanero addition to the broth. At least there was no like chunks of habanero, even though there was a lot of chunks of peppers in it. I believe it was just like a habanero infused broth that separated the gymkhana style from the regular spicy ramen. This was so delicious. It was amazing. I'm really shocked that a ramen shop in Indianapolis, Indiana had such an amazing bowl of noodles, honestly. At the very bottom level, it was a pork tonkatsu broth. Seriously heavy on the garlic. Really delicious garlic flavor. Not overpowering, but not weak. You could definitely pick out the garlic flavor in the broth. It was really delicious. But what really set it off was just that habanero spice. It immediately hit your taste buds. As soon as you take that first slurp, you knew that you were getting into something spicy. Just by looking at it, you can tell it was gonna be spicy. But just having the first slurp, you could tell this was gonna be a good fiery bowl of ramen. As far as the other toppings, you can tell from the video, there's like serrano or jalapeno peppers sliced and put in the bowl. There's chili rings, the little red chili rings in the bowl. It was infused with the habanero in the broth. Just overall, I was impressed by the amount of spice in the toppings and in the broth. So cool to actually have peppers physically there, visible in the bowl. You could see the egg. The egg was just delicious and gooey, and I just have nothing to complain about, nothing to talk bad about. It was amazing.
Yo, fellas, I gotta say, this is
Chashu was amazing, moist, delicious. It actually didn't have any crazy extra seasoning, which was kind of nice actually. It didn't have its own separate flavor. It just, they executed the basics perfectly with the chashu. It just had a regular pork grill flavor, smoky flavor. It was awesome, and it worked really well with the spicy broth. It didn't try and fight each other. One thing that was kind of interesting, when we first arrived, we sat down at the bar, like the like little short bar, and we noticed one of the employees scooping what looked like lard, like straight up lard, right out of a bucket to use in the broth or the tare or something. Excuse me. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't ever see a ramen shop add extra fat to their ramen, but it makes sense. It actually was perfectly executed in their bowl. I thoroughly enjoyed their ramen, even if it is more fat content than I need in an entire week. It was delicious, hands down delicious. The noodles were medium thickness, medium firmness, exactly how I like them. I think that honestly, my experience here in the States, most places go that route, just the medium. I don't know if there's a cost associated with different size noodles or what, but for the most part, I get medium. That's really nice. That's what I like, actually. In the end, this bowl really wasn't filling. It wasn't painful filling. I was content when I was finished with this bowl. I was there with two other of my coworkers, and I believe I know they got different bowls of ramen, different style of ramen. I feel like they maybe got more noodles than I did. I'm not sure if there's some kind of difference in how much you actually get depending on the bowl that you order, but just looking at what they ordered and how long it took them to eat their bowls, I feel like, or maybe I just eat really fast, I don't know, but I feel like they maybe got more noodles than me. In any case, I came out of there super content, not to the point where it's painful, but not wanting any more, that's for sure.
Here we go with the slurp score for Kizuki Ramen and Izakaya. For the broth, it had great garlicky flavor, it was creamy, it was thick, and it coated every single bite with spicy habanero goodness. So for that, I give it a 9. The chashu was super simple, meat plus heat. The grilled flavor was perfect and worked in beautiful harmony with the other ingredients. So for that, I'll give it a 7. For spice, there's habanero infused broth. Hot peppers on top, hot peppers under the surface, and even hot oil available on the table at the ready. The spice was awesome. So for that, I'll give it an 8. The noodles were medium, nothing super special about them, but executed perfectly and were enjoyable for every slurp. So for that, I'll give it an 8. Toppings, hot peppers were abundant, the egg was gooey and delicious. The bowl had toppings which worked together instead of overpowering one another, and they didn't throw in extra stuff that wasn't necessary. So for that, they get a 7. Overall vibe of the restaurant was large and typically Japanese. It was well lit, the wait staff was super attentive, and even when it was busy, they were able to provide excellent service. You had your choice of bar seating or table service, so overall it was just a great experience. For that, I'll give it an 8. Total score for Kizuki Ramen and Izakaya is a 7.83.
So yeah, I found this place on Google Maps. I don't think I ever heard a reference to this Izakaya ramen shop on the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, but it was one of the first ones to pop up based on my location, and I'm just really impressed with the quality of ramen that I got at Kizuki, especially since they don't just focus on ramen. It says it in the name, Kizuki Ramen and Izakaya, but I found that sometimes when people try and spread themselves too thin, maybe specializing in ramen and all these other different things, they tend to slack in all these different areas in order to accommodate a bunch of different customers. But even just going there for the ramen, this was an amazing bowl. I'd say this, if you are experienced with ramen, you have certain tastes with ramen, you like spicy ramen, you like garlic flavors, this place is authentic. It's legit. It's super nice. I would highly recommend you go there. There's other places around that I've seen on Google Maps. One place that I went to in particular doesn't even hold a candle to this place. So I'll say this, Indianapolis, you definitely impressed me. Your ramen is on point, at least by the standards of Kizuki Ramen and Izakaya. The other one that I've been to here, not so much, but you really impressed me with Kizuki Ramen and Izakaya. I'd recommend anybody go. If you ever are interested in trying ramen, or if you're just in the area and you really like ramen, do yourself a favor and stop by. You won't regret it.
Thanks for watching my video. Leave a comment, let me know what you think, especially if you have some recommendations for ramen shops to check out. And as I always say, leave this world better than you found it. Take it easy.